they put in. But I feel like a lot of Raptors fans, rightly so, have an extra special place in their heart for Kyle tonight.
And Kyle, who lives in the suburbs and his kids go to school and spends 9 months a year in Toronto. Did you know that? A lot of people didn't even know that about the Raptors, Kyle Lowry, who's embraced this city very much and done it quietly and without a PR firm walking around with him like other athletes have done at different times. I got 100% on nothing but time for him. Thanks again for the call. Great to hear from Finland. Donnie's in Toronto. Donnie, what are you thinking?
How you doing, Rogers? Donnie, and we've talked for the last off and on for 27 years. I started talking with you in 93 about boxing. We used to do the night thing.
I remember, sir.
And I want to tell you something. I'm 66 years old. I remember the Stanley Cup in 67. I was 14 years old. I remember the Blue Jays winning. Seeing this tonight, I've never seen nothing like it. I went downtown to see the crowd, and the fans were we had some, crazy fans, but the fans were so happy. I mean, this city really needed this, Roger. Really needed this. The management has done a heck of a job this year. Brought in every little piece of the puzzle just come together. I mean, it was a nerve-wracking series, but what a win. What a win, Roger.
Donnie, great to hear from you. Thank you for being a long-time listener, and you're right about it. The comparisons, Josh, for those of us old enough to remember, to the Blue Jays are quite similar. The Blue Jays built a great team. Yep. They put it together, but they went over the top when they brought in Dave Winfield in year one and then Paul Malter in year two. Mm-hmm. And baseball and basketball, not the same sports. I get that. But, it was then, the Canadian team, the Americans don't want them to win. And what are the TV ratings going to be if Canada's in the World Series and all the blah, blah, blah crap you hear. And the celebrations and the whole country embracing the Jays. A lot of similarities with Leonard, this team, Masai in particular, who really gets it, embracing it, and doing it and winning it, and significance for both the city and the country. The parallels are there. Too bad it took 26 years for it to happen.
Unfortunate.
It was a little bit of a delay, but very similar.
Well, the thing that I think a lot of people have been drawn to, and the thing that I appreciate about a lot of these guys, particularly Masai, you heard it after they won Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee. You heard it again tonight. He kept talking about how the team, everyone wanted to win for Toronto, wanted to win in Toronto. Like the moment is not lost on him whatsoever. He understands how rabid this fan base has been and is, and how long they've suffered, just kind of fleetingly looking for this moment to finally come. And kudos to him. He's taken plenty of, gambles that easily could have blown up in his face. And some maybe haven't gone as well as others, but, he sits back with him and Bobby Webster sit back with their feet up right now. Maybe they're smoking a victory cigar like Red Auerbach did back in the Boston Celtics days, and saying it was all worth it. We brought a championship to a city and a country that has been so starved for one. And, the job is done. We have more work to do. We want this team to be good for as long as we can, but our singular goal is accomplished, and I think the fans can really appreciate that dogged pursuit.
You can dine off a championship. Oh, let's see. How about forever? Lala's in Toronto. Lala, what do you think?
Hey, Raj. It's Lala from your sports writing class last year.
A student of mine. Great to hear from you. How you feeling tonight, my dear?
I'm here with my dad and my sister, and we are just, we can't even believe what happened. We were downtown, Yonge and Dundas. We were watching the game at a bar, and then we ran out to the square, Yonge and Dundas Square, and there were thousands of people waving flags, singing "Oh Canada," and that's a moment I don't think I'm ever going to forget. It's unexplainable. It was electric. It was just one of the best moments of my life, definitely.
I know you're a big sports fan. The whole family loves sports, the Raptors in particular, like you do?
Yeah, definitely. My dad's a huge sports guy, too.
Fantastic. Lala, enjoy it. So nice to hear from you. Yeah, there's no doubt, Josh, the sports fans and a young lady in particular, a great student and a big, big basketball fan, how they feel. And again, what we talked about earlier, You're with your dad, you're with your family. It's the memories of the whole thing. It's fabulous.
I feel like anyone who likes sports to any sort of degree, rabid or otherwise, pretty much most of their fondest memories are probably, I watched so-and-so, I went to a game, I played hockey, my dad or mom took me to hockey or took me to basketball. So if you've been a Raptors fan, let's say you're 27 or 28 years old and your parents are in their 50s or something in that range, you've probably been watching Raptors games together, or talking about Raptors games together for at least a decade, if not close to the entirety of the franchise. So, I think there's a lot of people out there who, can enjoy it for themselves, enjoy this championship for themselves, but have that kind of connection with their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their aunt, their uncle, their friends. There's just so many different things that sports kind of tug at. And I feel like even more so on a night where a team like this has finally won, that's just another awesome wrinkle to consider when we're talking about such a joyous occasion.
Okay, that's Josh Goldberg. I'm Roger Lajoie. Great to be with you. Special hello to everybody watching on our Sportsnet YouTube channel. Just joining us, welcome in. We are here until 5:30. We are taking calls from Raptor fans throughout the country. We've already had a call from Finland and Australia, and I'm sure we'll get some more international calls as well. Great you're joining us. Give us a shout, 416-870-0590 if you're local to Toronto. Toll free from anywhere, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can also text the show 590-590, but keep those calls coming. We're going to take them right through until 5:30 Eastern. And hi to everybody watching on YouTube, and of course our great audience on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, who have been with us for 27 years and 24 of them waiting for this night for the Raptors. Mitch in Richmond Hill, what do you think, Mitch?
Oh, what a night for Toronto. I got to tell you, we've been waiting 26 years for this. I remember 26 years ago being a university student, walking up Yonge Street, celebrating. And tonight, how times have changed. My wife is the chair of at our local school, and we were running our annual carnival. We ran home, caught the beginning of the game, scooted over to some friends' houses, and we got to celebrate a great moment tonight. We piled 9 of us into the truck, drove down Yonge Street. We got down to North York as far as we could go. It was bumper to bumper. People were going nuts. We were going nuts. It was just such a fun night. It's a great celebration and a great moment for everybody in the GTA.
Mitch, fabulous call. Thank you. I'm glad you celebrated with your family, and thanks for sharing the story with us. That's another strategy. People talk about, where do all these people come from? I mentioned earlier, a bunch of my buddies are in a bar. They're young and bluer. They've decided as soon as the game's over, let's just run all the way down Yonge Street, away to Jurassic Park, and we'll get in at Yonge Dundas Square and catch all of it. There are people, the game's over, they might be watching 30 kilometers away, and they get in the car and they go, we got to get down there. And what happens? You're going to get stuck in traffic.
Whatever,
and
yeah.
they love it.
Yeah.
I think that's fabulous.
We got a lot of those calls already tonight. It's like, I'm coming from Whitby. I'm coming from Peterborough. I'm coming from wherever it is. And I was like, oh, well, what are you going to do with your car? It's like, well, I'll find a place to leave it and just, it'll be fine. And
I'm not so sure about that strategy. But
this is one of the few times where we were talking about it. And Raj, I heard read a tweet about a traffic report. Apparently, Yonge was bumper to bumper traffic from front to Steeles. Think about how wild that is. Yep. And this is one of the few times, I'm sure there are probably some disgruntled drivers coming home from work, whatever it is, who maybe aren't Raptors fans. You turn on the radio, you see what's going on. Even the most cynical of drivers or people, see this joy that the Raptors have brought the city of Toronto and say, it takes me an extra 45 minutes to get home. So be it. These kinds of moments don't grow on trees. So for one night, let it all hang out. I said this before, let the juices drip down your chin of victory and enjoy every single moment of it.
Rupert is calling. Now, Rupert, are you calling from Taiwan, or are you from Taiwan?
I'm calling from Taiwan. Been here for over 2 years now. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, thank you very much. Great to hear from you, and tell us what you thought of the game tonight, bud.
Well, I'm calling because we're just too excited here. We're congratulations to Raptors, congratulations to Toronto, congratulations to Canada. We got together for Jurassic Park here in Game 5 as a heartbreaker. But tonight, what a crazy night, what a crazy ending. There's about 20 of us here celebrating. We all want to get on a plane and head back for the parade. So just want to say, great game. And I'm glad we won this way because, you know what, Leonard played well, but then all the other guys stepped up. It was a big team win. So that's the Raptors. So go Raptors, go.
Rupert, thank you. And if you do come back, safe travels, and great to hear from you from distant lands. And it's fantastic to hear from people throughout the plan. I do have a little bit of a bulletin for you and for everybody. You ready for this one? I've been on this station 27 years to say this. The championship parade is Monday morning, 10 o'clock.
Wild.
How's that? Monday morning, 10 o'clock, the parade. How many times over the years do we use the cliche, oh, better start planning the parade? Yeah, you better start planning the parade because the Raptors won the NBA title tonight. Monday at 10 o'clock. We'll have more details when we get them, but that's the time. Hey, John Tory, the mayor of the city, if you're listening to the station, call in. John, come on, call in. We'll get you on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Come on. John, where are you?
Where are you?
John is
We'd
a big
love
fan.
that.
He's probably wearing that ugly Raptors coat that he wears all over the place. Give us a call in, and we'd love to hear from all of you. Eddie in Toronto. Go, Eddie. Tell us what you're thinking.
Hey, you know, guys, I grew up 41 years old. I'm born and raised in this city. And I grew up in the old Toronto. And I think what I witnessed tonight was the birth of a new Toronto. It's a long time coming. I mean, I remember the first game. I remember Alvin Robertson shooting that three-pointer, and that was our first points ever scored. And it's just everything. It's hard to put it into words, but it just seemed like everything just came full circle tonight. I want to say one thing. If you do get the mayor on the phone, what you should do is tell him to permanently rename it Jurassic Park, you know, and if anybody ever calls it Maple Leaf Square or whatever it is, they should be fined. Okay, that area, that little strip of block of downtown is as much a part of this team's and this city's identity as Kawhi was, or Kyle, or Masai. That area and that people and that visual and the whole world, everybody across the world saw that. And they ought to, I know they got the little thing up there and it says Maple Leaf Square. They need to bring that down and put Jurassic Park. I don't know how they're going to do it with the trademarking thing, but they need to call Paramount or Disney, whoever it is, and be like, hey, man, we need to put this thing up here because this is forever going to be called Jurassic Park. And hell, man, when it's my time to go, I'd like to be buried in that place, man. This is for the outsiders. This is for my city. I don't even know what to say, man. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Celebrate Toronto. This is your time, man. It's your time under the bright lights, under the sun, man. This is the greatest day. Thank you so much.
Eddie, thank you. You know exactly what to say. Don't give yourself credit. That's about as good a call as we've had tonight. Patrick in Ancaster. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, hi, guys. I wanted to know how you're feeling, first of all.
I'm still, it's been about 3 hours, and I'm still just kind of trying to process the fact that this actually happened. Like, so we're supposed to be composed professional broadcasters. I think we're doing a pretty decent job of it, but you know, sometimes the magnitude of the moment and just, you know, watching a lot of Raptors games, I've been to a lot of crappy Raptors basketball games over the years. I've seen plenty of games. We had a caller about the Sprite Zone earlier. I had some season tickets in the Sprite Zone in like 2005, 6. It was a long year. So I think I just need to kind of digest the fact that this has actually, in fact, happened. And I'm just more than anything really happy for the city of Toronto and the fans that have, you know, stuck with this team through thick and thin.
Patrick, I am more of and I've been in the business a long, long time. I'm more of a general sports fan than I am a fan of teams, but I have the utmost respect, admiration, and love for the sports fans of Toronto. And I know what it means to some people. And every time I get the opportunity as a media person to go into an arena with a press pass, I stop and thank my lucky stars because I realize there are people who are literally paying thousands of dollars to come in and do what I do. I cannot tell you how happy I am for them tonight and this city, because sports does something for a city. Now, thanks for asking.
Yes,
but how do you feel?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure how I feel. It's going to take a little while. But I'm congratulating you guys. I'm congratulating the city of Toronto. I'd like to thank Kawhi Leonard for what he's done for us. And I think it's going to take a couple weeks, a couple months. But we're going to be talking about this for ages to come.
Patrick, thank you. We will be. You know, there's the old adage athletes say to each other many times, you win, your brothers for life. And when your team wins a championship, it's a memory for life. And I know it's 26 years, and I'll use the Jays' most recent example. And by the way, before anybody says anything, we are not belittling, dismissing the Argos, the Rock, the rugby team, the other Toronto sports teams.
Sure.
They've won championships. It's all wonderful. But we're talking, all due respect, the streets didn't get flooded when the Argos, and they've won multiple Grey Cups, by the way. So let's get that out of the way. But I think the fact of all the emotion that comes in when you win is something you will remember the rest of your life. Yeah, we'll talk about it a couple of days, and eventually it goes away. And maybe 1992, 93, people don't talk about it as much as they did 2 years after, 5 years after, 10 years after. But we still have great memories. I know a guy, never mind Jurassic Park. How about we name the outside part of the Scotiabank Arena Navbadia Square? Because there's been no bigger supporter of this franchise, and I'm not the least bit surprised he's called us in to say a few words. Nav, first of all, I say this to you. Congratulations. This is about as much as you as it is anything else.
No, thank you very much. No, actually, it's not about me. It's about every Canadian and everybody who's supporting, every Raptors fan, every Canadian who's supporting us wherever they are. If they are in Australia, they are in Somalia, wherever they are, they have been following this game, especially in Canada. It was not anymore a Toronto Raptors. It was Canada Raptors versus Golden State. And with God's grace, first of all, we are the best team on this earth. And here we are, a dream come true, unbelievable, but we are the NBA champs.
Well said. Nav, how did you feel as the seconds are ticking down there? Give us your thoughts, because the caller was just asking Josh and I, how we felt. How did you feel after, I know your story, you're day one. Now, so listeners know this. They probably know the story. You have never missed a game. You've never been late, and you never left early?
I've never been late. I've never left a game early. And again, I say, I wish I can brag about my married life like that. My married life is hanging by a string for the last so many years, because I spend a lot of time. I miss my wife's wedding anniversary. I miss a lot of family events because my schedule is around the Raptors schedule. I spend more than I make. So that means I take few mortgages on my house, and my wife, I don't think she knows what I've spent this year because it has been a long playoff. Yeah. I have a feeling that maybe when I arrive back day after tomorrow or tomorrow to home, my luggage might be sitting outside the door.
Oh, she loves you more than that. And you watch it. People are going to buy a ton of cars now, and you're going to get it back. You deserve it. Come on.
For sure.
Okay, well, anyway, I want to tell you that this really, I feel, is a event which has brought, in the last 3-4 weeks, Canada together through the game of basketball. And I believe that because today I saw in the arena, after the game was over, about a couple of thousand fans again who were, different, from different religion, from different color, from different background, different gender, but everybody together as a Canadian coming together and, just taking in the moment in this beautiful history-making event. And so beautiful, not just for our city, Toronto, for all of Canada. This has brought us together as Canadians, and that's what this sports does. That's what this basketball does, and that's what I'm doing now in the last couple of years. I'm trying to bring the world together through my foundation, Navbadia Superfan Foundation, which helps build the courts and helps the kids to, bring the world together. It doesn't matter how we look, what we wear on our head, or not wear. But deep inside, we have the same passion, and we are together, and this is so beautiful. It's amazing. It's amazing,
How excited are you for the parade on Monday? Just thinking about spending it with the fans.
I don't know. Has it been confirmed?
Monday 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Monday, 10 a.m.
Monday, 10 a.m. Nav, so you better get back.
Okay. Monday, 10 a.m. is the parade. Okay, all right then. And I tell you, I congratulate everybody who has been following and supporting the Raptors. And I want to also say something to all of us. that this is not just a victory for this team, which is right now on the roster. This is a victory from the beginning. Stoudemire, all those guys, Vince Carter, Tracy, all those guys, Chris Bosh, DeMar DeRozan, Brian Colangelo, Coach Sam Mitchell. Everybody deserves to be a part of this, and we should be, humble enough and proud enough to include everybody who has worn a Raptors jersey. So I thank all of them. I met Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Chancey Billups there on the court while I was doing some interviews, and I told them, guys, and everybody was celebrating. Vince was so happy for us. D-Mac was so happy. Everybody was just, we were having a good time. And I tell you, the world is happy for Toronto right now.
Nav, we are so happy you joined us. Safe travels back. And I do say it again, congratulations to you, because like I said, they don't call you super fan for nothing. You are the super fan, and all you've done for the franchise and to rise above any kind of pettiness you've had to deal with too is a credit to you and to everybody. So thank you, sir.
And enjoy.
Well, thank you very much. It makes me today a very proud Canadian and a human being. And let's just, everybody who's listening, just enjoy ourselves. Be safe. Don't do anything silly. Be safe. We are in the best country in the world, Canada, and just follow all the rules and regulations. Enjoy ourselves. Yes, it is a lot to celebrate for us, and let's continue enjoying for the next 7 days. But in the meantime, thanks to all you guys on the broadcasting, sports broadcasting, and hopefully we can grow this beautiful game of basketball in the next years to come, and God willingly, in the 10 years, this beautiful game, which I'm in love with, will become the first #1 game in Canada.
Nav, thank you so much again. All the best, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. God bless you. Good night.
And you too, sir.
Awesome.
Nav Bhatia, that is just absolutely fantastic and great to hear from him. I know it's it's getting difficult to try to follow these things up. So you know what? Instead of following it up, we'll just go back to the phone lines. 416-870-0590. 1-888-666-0590, star 590. An historic night for Toronto sports fans, without question. The Toronto Raptors are the NBA champions. The parade's Monday at 10 o'clock.
Let that sink in.
Pinch yourself and say it again. Parade's Monday at 10. Hassan in Scarborough. What do you think of that?
Oh, my God. I don't know. I can talk to you. I lost my voice. It's pretty emotional for me. I wish I have Nav Bhatia's money, and I can't explain how big supporter I am. Whole family, my workplace, everybody knows. I've been calling you guys every year, frustrated, lose, and everything. My son turned 18, and we enjoyed together Jurassic Park last few days. And at 9 in the morning, coming home at 3 in the morning, and I soaked and got fever. I still lost my voice. My son, when Vince Carter make that shot, my son, I was carrying him. I was holding him on my lap. He was like few months old. And when he missed, I almost dropped him. My wife yelled at me. And now I enjoy that game with my son. And I lost him today as the crowd. He wants to stay longer for partying, and I can't because I'm feeling really not good sick. I will stay till like half an hour ago. I just got here. It's a big thing for us. And it's all started for me was basketball is long time ago. And New York Knicks and Bulls, and that's how I fall in love. Where I came from, Bangladesh, basketball, cricket, and soccer, and I fall in love with the game. And then I came to here, and I married a lady here in Toronto, and then I moved. Since then, '96, I became a huge Raptors fan, and forget the Knicks and everything. I'm a Raptors fan. I follow them every day, everywhere, and I promote Raptors in my workplace. I tell you where I work, and eight years ago, I went to the management and get a permission for a Raptors playoff time. We all wear jerseys, T-shirt, whatever it is. Since now, it's become tradition. And I'm just going to give a little bit shout out to all those guys who are supporting me at Woodbine Entertainment, Racetrack, and Casino. And I provide all my T-shirts to the guys who doesn't have it. I have like 12 of them. Everybody wear at the game time. This year, we did it everybody together, and 125 T-shirts for everybody at my cost. And we were wearing, we got the East and logo, which is Drake OVO one, and everybody loved it. And all the support, I want to shout out them. And my family, my wife called me Al Bundy because every time Raptors game, I come and sit on that couch, and she's got mad. And this is huge for me. I was there with all the bunch of kids partying. I'm 50 years old, just turned, and the greatest day of my life. And I was having so much fun in there. I wish I would have stayed more longer, but I was getting sick. I can't talk, and I got to work tomorrow morning. And I'll be there in the Monday. Hopefully I can get time off. If it's not, I've got to do something. But I want to be there, and I don't want to miss it for anything. So,
Hassan, thank you. Your long-time dedication to the team is great, and it sounds like the voice is almost going on you, but I'm glad you had enough in the voice to say how you're feeling. And I think there'll be a few people wearing Raptors shirts at work tomorrow.
Yes, you would imagine. Well, it's good that it's a Friday. Maybe you don't have to work quite as hard, and you can kind of sleepwalk your way through the day tomorrow. Wonder how lenient bosses are going to be on Monday for the parade at 10 a.m. Because Raptors fans are going to be there. Wherever the route is, whatever road closures there are, people are going to be there in droves. Maybe you'll have people like hanging out of windows and stuff like that. It gets pretty nuts. You've seen parades for various teams winning championships. A city like this, a fan base like this, it's going to be wild. Even at 10 o'clock on a Monday, which is usually a pretty tough day to get fired up first thing in the morning, it's going to be wild.
Oh, they'll be fired up. I don't think I worry about that one. Richard is in Littleton. Richard, go ahead.
Hey, guys, what's up? Thank you for taking my call. First off, I just want to congratulate Canada. Of course, I'm in the lower states, so congratulations. It's a big win. Don't let anybody take the injuries that Golden State had away from you. I mean, this was not in any way decided by those. This was your win. This is a great win. Being a Denver Nuggets fan, of course, I had to unfortunately watch my team get knocked out, but watching another team win their first, and also just watching somebody take down the walking all-star team that is Golden State is amazing. I cannot be happier about that. So,
Richard, thank you very much. And by the way, Littleton in Colorado. So, Richard, we really appreciate your call. And once again, people from all over calling our show tonight. Enjoy it, Richard. Thanks very much. 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. Our text is 590-590. We'll get to the text a little bit later. Let's get one more in here. We'll take a short break. And hello again to everybody who's watching on Sportsnet's YouTube channel. We are broadcasting live there, as well as here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan until 5:30 a.m. I'm Roger Lajoie. Josh Goldberg is with me, and we are so glad you are with us. Hey, it's my buddy Doug calling from Toronto. Doug, what do you think of all this, sir?
Oh, I love it. You know, when a team that plays in a league where there's only one Canadian team can take the Americans trophy and keep it for a year at our place. I love it every time we do that.
It is, well, and winning that, you know, Doug, you really bring a point up. The fact that they won at the Oracle 4 straight times, including the regular season.
Wild.
How fantastic is that?
Yeah. Well, you know, Raj, I didn't see much of the coverage on the U.S. network, but you know, I just hope that a lot of Americans can see what a great country Canada is and how they're unified by one team in one sport. I mean, it's just exceptional that way. I can't help but think our image is pretty good, and as long as we keep everything, you know, in context, and you know, whatever we're doing tonight is celebrating that, and all comes out as a positive thing, then, you know, I hope more Americans and people from different parts of the world who love basketball will come up to Toronto and the rest of Canada and see from coast to coast how we celebrate our successes in professional sports.
Doug, thank you. And it's so great to hear from you, my friend. Stay well, and great comments about it. There is no doubt. I've always felt, Josh, Toronto does not need any kind of, like, you know, commercial for itself. but the more a team wins and the more the city is exposed on the international stage, made a big difference with the Blue Jays. And I think a lot of people who didn't know much about Toronto know a lot more about it now, and there's a lot more for them to like.
Yeah, I feel like the past couple of years, Toronto's been this kind of thing that during the regular season in the NBA, nobody really talks about. It's like, oh, well, the Raptors lost in the playoffs last year. Why are we really paying attention to them? But considering they were the team that had dinosaurs on their jerseys and played at the old Sky Dome or Maple Leaf Gardens, it just kind of seemed like they never really had a huge foothold. People like basketball, but there was a lot of losing. And to see how far they've come, Jurassic Park, has gone from a kind of a cool thing to now there was 4 secondary screens, like it was backed up. Road closures were in place all day. You weren't really getting that for the Leafs. Maybe if it was the Stanley Cup final, you would have, but it's become pretty clear, and you've seen basketball in Canada grow just tenfold. The players in the NBA, grassroots level, the development of young players. And I think the Raptors have a lot to do with that. And, if the international media, the American media still doesn't want to give the Raptors their due, so be it.
That's their problem.
That's their thing. You know what? You can sleep soundly at night knowing that people in this country respect the Raptors for what they've done up until this point. And this championship, I honestly think, is just kind of the punctuation mark on something that's been brewing and building for a really long time.
That's Josh Goldberg. I'm Roger Lajoie. Your calls continue, 1-888-666-0590. That's toll-free anywhere in the country, 416-870-0590 if you're in the 416, star 590 if you're on the cell, and that's also toll-free. We'll pick up the cost for that. Text us, 590-590. Put your name, your location on the text. We'll read those much later because we're going to continue with calls for the next couple of hours. Raptor fans, celebrate, enjoy, party responsibly, but party hardy. You're the 2019 NBA champions. We'll see you at the parade Monday, 10 a.m. More coming up in moments right here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
The Raptors call a timeout. Let's see who's in the crowd tonight. We have some Hollywood legends, recording artists, and hey, it's Steve from Scarborough. Steve's a pretty big deal. If you didn't know, he's got a Raptors insurance provided by Aviva, clutch home and car insurance that brings him closer to his team. Way to go, Steve. Glad to have you cheering for the home team. Raptors insurance provided by Aviva. Get your quote today at raptorsinsurance.com. Raptors insurance products are serviced by Aviva Agency Services, Inc. and underwritten by S&Y Insurance Company. Visit our website for full details.
When it's time to talk to your kids about cannabis, the conversation could go like this.
Oh my God. Look at your eyes. Are you high? I knew I shouldn't have let you go to that party. Your friends are not to be trusted. You'll end up in the streets.
Seriously, Mom? Or you could practice with our kids before talking to yours. Sign up for a live practice session to test run the cannabis talk at practicekids.ca. A free service from Drug Free Kids Canada.
Guys, I know you don't want to talk about it. You've been filing it in the back of your mind, and it's just been gnawing at you. Today's the day you finally do something about it. Gaines Wave Therapy, provided by Oakwood Health Network, is a revolutionary treatment for erectile dysfunction. It's long-lasting. There are no needles and no, oh, I have to take a pill moments. Perform better and regain your spontaneity with Gaines Wave Therapy and Oakwood Health. Book your free consultation at oakwoodhealth.com. That's oakwoodhealth.com.
You know your guy. He's not into Father's Day ties or slippers or PJs. You know he loves fire and heat and meat. So come to Barbecue World for Father's Day. This is his world.
Oh, yeah.
Made possible by Barbecue World.
We're all fired up for Father's Day with loads of promos in store. Shop hundreds of barbecues and gadgets and get expert advice to help you choose right. Plus, right now, get it delivered and assembled for free. Barbecue World in Whitby, Vaughan, Mississauga, and at barbecueworld.com.
Your Toronto Raptors are the 2019 NBA champions. Congratulations. From Sportsnet 590, The Fan. You're listening to The Wrap. Sportsnet 590, The Fan's Raptors postgame show.
Freddie going on DeMarcus, step back into a three. Rattled halfway down, he missed, but Ibaka grabs it and fires it back into the tin. With 3 minutes to play, the Raptors are up 5.
Eric Smith with the call, yeah. And it got better than that. They were up 5. They held on. And the Toronto Raptors are 2019 NBA champions. This is the wrap. Extended version. Oh, yeah. We're here until 5:30. I'm Roger Lajoie. Josh Goldberg. Josh started even earlier. He's going to stay another hour with me. We're going to hear from Rob Wong, who's on site, was at the game, and we'll get a reaction from him around the city, from Rob Wong. Eric Smith, of course, in Oakland, will touch base with us sometime during the show. But it's really, folks, about your phone calls. 1-888-666-0590, 416-870-0590, star 590. The text is 590, 590. We'll get into the text much later and catch up and read them. We want to take as many callers. People are being real patient here, Josh. So let's see if we can raffle a few more of these folks off.
You want to get to a couple of texts? Yeah, morning to us. We did it. Congratulations to our Raptors. Woohoo. What a night. Makes me remember my dad and mom while they were still alive. Awesome memories. I'm looking forward to celebrating with my fellow Torontonians. Leslie in Scarborough.
Nicely said, Leslie. Let's back to the phones now. Ron in Toronto. What do you think, Ron?
Gentlemen, how are you?
We are great.
Fantastic. So first I would like to say congratulations to Canada, like everybody is saying. Next, I would like to say big up Toronto Blue Jays for winning tonight as well.
Okay.
Well, I mean, come on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, fine.
And also, I would like to say that I was one of those guys, the inaugural season, sitting in the 500 level, most of the time sleeping because the games were so horrible. And it's nice to finally have this come to fruition.
Ron, thanks.
Yes?
Ron, thanks for the call. Listen, a lot of people were there in the early days. A lot of people might have been there in the early days, and like you said, you were sleeping, and that's not an exaggeration how bad some of those games were. Some of them may have left. Some of them are new to the party. Some fans only picked up basketball as a result of this playoff. Some people have been there the entire time, had Nav body on. Still, I can't get over the fact, 24 years.
Never left early.
Never missed a game, never got there late, or never left early is saying something. So, Ron, thank you. You're not alone in the guy that has been there from the start, and I hope you enjoyed it tonight because it was a special night. Tony in Oshawa, what do you think, Tony?
All right, man. I'm telling you, man, it's a pleasure for me to be up in Oshawa here. I was at Jane and Finch. I was at the Jamaica Canadian Center tonight watching it, and I passed Jane and Finch, Young and Finch. I could hardly pass that area because the road was entire black celebration all over the West End. It was such a pleasure, man. I've been here since 1989, and I go on this Raptors bandwagon from the just started, and I'm happy that this is unfolding right now. We're celebrating a championship. I know, just as they say, the United States, the media have we as the underdog right now, but right now they have no more like that to say right now. So we are just happy celebrating tonight. That's we are celebrating the Raptors championship, and thanks to Kawhi for making this happen in Toronto. Thank you very much.
Tony, thank you. What a great call, no question. Folks in Oshawa, yeah, a lot of the local bars in Oshawa and Pickering and Ajax and Whitby and Kitchener and Guelph and you name it, Josh, when we talk about throughout the entire country, but the Raptors have a lot of fans, and Oshawa's in the 905, but even in the close area codes of Ontario.
Well, we've done, I venture to guess we probably did, I don't know, a dozen or more Raptors post-game shows together during this regular season. We got a lot of calls from all over the place, and it's just crazy thinking back to those games, in years past, but even this season, like a random February Tuesday night against the Washington Wizards where the Raptors blew them out, and it was like, okay, well, let's get to the playoffs. Let's talk about the playoffs. Nothing matters until you get to the playoffs. And for once, here we are sitting, and instead of it's an early exit, disappointment, heartbreak, same old Raptors. No, it's not the same old Raptors. It's the new Raptors, the NBA champion Raptors. And thanks to calls like Tony there, Hassan earlier, names I recognized from doing a lot of these shows. And it just goes to show the passion of this fan base that they're calling us at 3:08 in the morning, just as regularly as they would call us, at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night after a win against the Wizards.
And no bigger win the Raptors have ever had, obviously, than the one they had tonight, without question. Yeah, we got a lot of regulars. Raj in Brampton. Go ahead, Raj.
How's it going, guys?
Going great.
I just got a couple of small stories that I want to tell you. It's 3 o'clock in the morning almost.
Go ahead.
We just pulled into my driveway. I've got my 8-year-old daughter and 9-year-old son in the van with me. I wanted to make sure they experienced the downtown experience because you know what? It's a lifetime memory. I wanted to make sure that they saw what was happening around them. 14 years ago, I signed up for season seats. I was there for the very first game at Skydome. And 14 years ago, when I signed up for season seats, they literally, as an incentive, gave me a signed Chris Bosh jersey and gave me courtside seats for one game just as an incentive to go sign up for season seats. Now there's, a 2-3 year waiting list for season seats right now. I was blessed enough to be in Oakland for games 3 and 4. And the amount that we celebrated, the passion, the pride, the noise, the national anthem, it was beyond what I expected. And, it's an amazing experience that, that I think we right now we should never take for granted because, who knows when we'll get back here, if we will, right? So it's an amazing experience. And then
Raj, thank you.
What happened tonight.
Thank you so much for the story. Get those kids to bed, and we appreciate the call. It's a wonderful thing. Josh, one of the things, the cliches you hear in sports all the time, it's always bugged me, is, in any sport, when you get to a final and a team loses, people say, well, you know what? They'll be back there next year. Or there's always an assumption, there'll be another chance. And sometimes there is.
Yeah.
And usually there isn't. You never know. And it's the same kind of thing when you get in, even when you have a Cinderella team. It was the same thing. I got to know some people in Vegas, and the Vegas Golden Knights were a great story in the NHL and an expansion team. And they went to the Stanley Cup final and they lost. And, a lot of the fans are going, well, fantastic as it is, expansion team, go to the Stanley Cup final. But one guy, I won't forget, who was a really interesting man, said, yeah, but you know what? We may never get here again.
For sure.
And, everyone's kind of chuckling, go, first year team got there. You don't know. So to Raj's point, enjoy it while it's here. Don't take it for granted. Well, if Kawhi stays, they could win a couple. And maybe yes, maybe no.
Enjoy the one.
You got it right.
Absolutely. No question about it.
You never know. Jason in Scarborough, you're next. Go ahead, Jason.
Yes, guys. It's an easy night for you guys because this is the best for radio. This is what you want. You want to talk championship. You want to hear what everybody has to say. Well, we had a great night. I watched the game. I listened to the game on the radio for a bit, had a beer. They've been popping fireworks. The cars are honking in Scarborough. But what I just want to say, everybody wasn't sure about that trade. You know what? We got a superstar in Kawhi, and you got to take it. We won the championship. That's it. There's nothing else to discuss. Like even the hard eggs of Ruggiero and all those guys. This is fun. And I my family live in Toronto for a long time. Some of my relatives remember when the first game in '47, the Huskies, and they said, "Oh, basketball won't work." I said, "The kids will bring the older fans and all the hockey fans," and then they did. The sports, and I have relatives in San Francisco, and the Canadians were my relatives over there were saying the Americans were shaking hands and congratulating them and just enjoying the whole time. It's been a great run and great memories for everybody, and that's what you guys. That's what we got to take from it, because that's sports. And the last thing I just want to say before I go, Raptors and Raptors, we enjoy it, and I think the Raptors organization here in Scarborough, they used to come all the schools, give tickets, and in the quarters, summer, winter, and that's how you build the team. You build the team fans by bringing them in, by coming to them, and they did that. And we've now gone to them, and now we're talking about them. Number one. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Jason, thank you. Give us a call anytime. Well said. Lots to digest there, but you're so right about it in terms of the fans and the building of the sport and just the historical side. Josh, and I do some consulting work for Ryerson University.
Yeah.
So when we do the tours of Mattamy Athletic Center, I show them a big painting, not a painting, but a picture. It's on the wall, I guess. And was the New York Knickerbockers taking on the Toronto Huskies in November of 1946. The league was then known as the American Association of something like that. And the Huskies lasted, it was the first game in league history. The Huskies lasted 1 year, and that league eventually, I believe the next year, became known as the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
The first game in the history of the NBA was played at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and the last game of the 2019 season was won by Toronto tonight.
It is interesting that you bring up like the history origins of the game of basketball. We were talking earlier with when Matt and I were talking, just like about James Naismith creating the game of basketball, it taking a while for basketball in Canada to kind of develop a big time relationship where there's a lot of basketball players being developed in Canada and more emphasis on the game. And I think we've already become in a pretty good place with the game in this country, but you got to imagine this kind of moment, having these images for young kids who are taking up the game and wanting to get after the game, trying to convince their parents that it's the game for them. These are the kinds of things that are going to be etched into a lot of kids' memories and maybe the kind of thing that really pushes them or makes them really want to pursue something involving the game of basketball.
Nothing beats winning. Nothing changes. It gets a kid more excited about playing a sport, potentially, without question, than seeing a team win a championship from your own city. Well, there's no doubt about that. Mohammed is in Dubai. Mohammed, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Raj. Nice to call you guys. I just got back from Toronto after 2 weeks for Eid with the family. Too bad I was there for Game 5 at home, hoping that we would win it and I could go down to Jurassic Park and be one of them. But here I am. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning, streamed online, and great game. I still have that inset from Toronto Sun when we got the 95 Raptors. And B.J. Armstrong was traded back because he didn't want to play in Toronto. By Isaiah Thomas, he was traded to the Golden State Warriors for Carlos Rogers, and I forget the other guy who played back for us. So day one Raptor fan, it's an amazing feeling. I really, it's awesome. And, I don't know if you guys remember Vincenzo Esposito, our first ever free agent signing. So, yeah, from day one, man, 95, and then here we are. It's an awesome feeling. It's great. It's awesome.
Are you a native Canadian, Mohammed? Are you in Dubai working, or what's the story there?
Yeah, I've been the last 5 years. Been working in Dubai for the last 5 years. So I travel back often. My wife and kids are there since July. So here I am. I was there for the holidays, and it's too bad we couldn't win it in Game 5.
Well, fantastic for you to call in. Thank you very much, and great to hear from you. We've had calls from everywhere tonight, and it is just great to hear from everybody. Here's one from Calgary where we find Randy. Go ahead, Randy.
Oh, man, I can't explain the happiness I have right now. I actually just moved to Calgary 2 months ago for work, and I feel like I regret it already, not being in Toronto for the win. But I just like to share the overall story of just being a Toronto fan. I'm 26 years old. I moved to Toronto, Mississauga, basically in 1998. I didn't get to experience the Jays winning in '93, but I became a Toronto fan. So I lived through a lot of poor seasons by the Jays, the Leafs, and the Raptors, and I kind of saw a light in the tunnel when the 905 won a championship, when the Marlies won the Calder Cup, when the MLS TFC won the MLS Cup, and even the Toronto Wolfpack, which I follow, are on a tear and building up the system. But I never really thought the Raptors would actually win a championship, and it's crazy to think about it. And I actually thought the Leafs would win a Stanley Cup before the Raptors, but the game for basketball in Canada has grown so much. Just looking at the success of the Canadian national team and the World Cup coming up, I just can't imagine the growth of basketball in Canada and just the joy of all the Toronto fans and the Canadian fans watching it in the bars in Calgary where people are cheering it may not translate to the parades and the charades on the road, but there's fans everywhere around the country, and it's great. And I'm so happy to be part of this, to witness this. Because, as a lot of callers said, you don't know when it's going to happen again. And you got to live in the moment and appreciate it, because championships don't come along. We're not going to be like the city of Boston that gets championships every other year, but it's rare to see it in the top 4 sports in Toronto, and I'm just grateful. And thank you for taking my call. And P.S. I love the Fan 590, even being in Calgary. I have to listen to the Fan 590. You guys are doing an amazing job, and thank you for taking my call. And that's just my input on this championship run.
Well, Randy, thank you for those kind words and for your call. Really
Absolutely.
Appreciate it 100%. So, Josh, another thing we talked about ad nauseum, when both the Leafs and the Raptors got good, which is really rare, speaking of.
Yeah.
But they both got good. And I recall distinctly throwing it out saying, all right, which of this couple of years ago, which of these two teams do you think is going to win first?
Yep.
And it was like, it'll be the Leafs. And I go, well, why does everyone think the Leafs are that much closer than the Raptors? Raptors can't win. Golden State's in the league.
LeBron's in the league.
Well, guess who they beat tonight?
Yeah.
Guess who they beat tonight? And when you think about it, and I'm not dissing the Leafs by any stretch of the imagination, because they've come a long way, and they continue to improve, and their time may come soon, too, and we'll have another parade. Wouldn't that be fantastic? But the NBA title, when you think about it, is even harder to win, because really, there's only 4, 5 teams that can win the NBA championship.
There was a point where the Celtics and Lakers had won like 50% of the NBA championships, right?
Like NBA, there's not a lot of parity.
Yep.
And the 8th seed never wins in the NBA. So to break through, and so that's why people thought, oh, the Raptors will never do it, because it's even tougher to win the NBA. The Leafs, NHL, get in the playoffs off the St. Louis Blues. Get in the playoffs, you can win the cup. NBA, it's not just enough to get in the playoffs. You got to be get a superstar and do all the work. So if the Raptors were able to be the first of the two to break through, I think is even more of a credit, because how hard it is to win in basketball.
Yes, I think that's a really good point. And, this isn't a case of parity, because like you said, you need to have that star element to your team, and Kawhi certainly brings that to the table. But even being in the position to, have the assets to make the deal and take a chance on Kawhi, have the perfect program, considering where you came from, I feel like that's kind of a parody in and of itself. Like, nobody, I think, for the first, probably 10 years of the Raptors franchise, where they were kind of a laughingstock, were people really starting to think that, they just need a few tweaks here and there, and they'll put themselves in a position to be a consistent contender for years to come and finally win a championship. Maybe some did, but I think a lot probably were like, this was an expansion franchise. The NBA is hard. There's a lot of really great players. We don't have a LeBron. We don't have a Kobe Bryant.
Can't win without a superstar. That's another thing in basketball. If you don't have a superstar, you can't win.
Generally,
no.
You
can't.
Aside from the Pistons. And they were great.
And the Pistons were great. I mean, they had Chauncey Billups in his prime. They had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. And, okay, maybe that's the only team that didn't have the Hall of Famer, Shaq, Kobe, Jordan, Kawhi.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan. Yeah, you got to have a star. You got to have a superstar. And that's where Masai taking the chance on the deal paid off.
So we were talking about, remember, we did a show the night of the Kawhi Leonard trade.
Yep.
Did 4 hours on it, and we were like, this is a great trade, great home run swing. Raptors reopen their window to contend for a championship, at least for this year, and then we'll see what happens. Great gamble. Did we really think that they would actually pull it off and win the championship in the first year? I know I didn't.
No. I thought they had a crack at the final.
Yeah, I did too.
I said right from the start of the year I liked the team. I thought they were capable. I thought they could get through the East. Of course, Philadelphia was a scare. But no. No, did I think it was possible at the start of the year? No, I didn't think so. But, folks, it's sports. Anything's possible. 416-870-0590. If you're in the 416 area, 1-888-666-0590, anywhere in the country, for that matter, outside the country, and star 590 on your cell. That's also a toll-free call. Text 590-590. We'll get to the text much later in the show. Roger Lajoie, Josh Goldberg with you. Hi again to everybody who's watching on our Sportsnet YouTube channel. We're broadcasting there. Hey, folks. Hey, look, we've got the Larry O'Brien Trophy with us right here in the house.
Where did you pick that bad boy up?
This is the actual size. I got this from the 2005 NBA Finals.
Wow.
And Lee gave this
in
as
Detroit.
as a gift to reporters.
Wow.
And I hung her. I just had it on my bookcase, and I thought, I'm going to bring that in tonight. Because I remember when I picked it up, I thought, what a great gift that is for media thing. Yeah, it's a market distinction thing, but I read nice little thing, and that was 14 years ago.
Here we go. Here we are.
Finally, I get to trot it out, and we can show everyone our Larry O'Brien Trophy. The real one will be at the parade Monday.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Can't say it enough.
Alan in Toronto. Parade Monday at 10 o'clock. How about that, Alan?
I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. Long-time caller. I'm one of the pioneers of the station.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, you are. Alan in a cab.
Yeah, Golden Gate did not go quietly into the night. They gave him all he could handle. My late father, he passed away in January at the age of 98, and his motto was, if you want something, you're going to have to earn it. You're not going to get it as a gift. Well, the Raptors did not get it as a gift. I've been going to roughly 25 to 30 games a year from 2000 to 2014, and then they started selling out. They were expensive. And I did not go to any postseason games this year for financial reasons. I did not go to Jurassic Park for personal reasons because of I'm just a little too long in the tooth. I was born in 1946, but I was there in spirit, and I like I'm like the city. I'm thrilled beyond description, and my wife is not a basketball fan. As such, she never was a basketball fan. She was this postseason, and she's thrilled too. Roger, I always wanted to ask you. 1967, I was at all 6 postseason games between Chicago and Montreal here in Toronto. When you were in Montreal, did you go to any of those Habs games? Did you go to the Forum very often when you were in Montreal? You've been gone for quite some time, I understand.
Yeah, I have been. Yeah, Alan, and thanks for the call. I want to move on and get a bunch of them. Yeah, I went to the Montreal Forum, a lot of games. My time in sports, Alan, like you, was a fan long before I got to be a broadcaster. And I'm not quite as old as you are, but I remember that Leafs Stanley Cup in 1967 and spent a lot of great days with my dad. We were talking about that earlier, how sports memories go with your father. And I spent a lot of time in that arena back in the day. And Alan, you have been a staple of this station and a regular caller, and we thank you for that. 27 years you've been calling this station, so much appreciated. You enjoyed it tonight. Happy for you. That was the people you're happy for.
Yeah, the long timers for sure that have just suffered for a generation basically with not a lot to cheer about. Like, this was the first time, Raj, that any Toronto team, and okay, I don't mean to disparage the likes of Toronto FC, the Argos, the Rock, you name it. I'm talking about the 4 major core North American sports. This is the first time. It's not even like a team has made it to a championship series and lost. We haven't sniffed it in this city since '93.
The Jays did.
Conference finals. It was great. Leafs got there a couple of times. Couldn't quite get over the hump.
I wouldn't put the Raptors with the Jays because there's no way the Raptors were winning in those conference. Although the Cleveland series. But yeah, your point is, how many
finally
never even got to this is the first finals.
Yeah.
The Leafs haven't been to the Stanley Cup final in 52 years. Never mind, didn't win the cup.
Yeah.
At least the St. Louis Blues got to a couple of finals early in their thing. So, yes, this is something else. And when you hear from people who've been watching this for a long time, and Alan has called us a lot of nights and a lot of post-game shows after a loss, really not much to say. Well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Alan, God bless you. Thank you. Jay in Orangeville, what do you think, Jay?
Morning, fellas. First-time caller. How you doing?
Well, welcome to the show, and we're great. Thank you.
Now, I'm not much of a sports fan aside from hockey, but I woke up at about 11 o'clock last night because I had to get up for work, and I turned on the radio. I was listening to you guys, listening to 680, and I got out to Tim Hortons to get my coffee for work, but it was the last minute and a half or so of the game. And I was out there for a good 20 minutes before I went in to get my coffee. But as someone who's not really much of a basketball fan, I do got to say this is a great historical moment for Canada, being the first time a Canadian team's won the NBA, and Toronto, of all teams, of all the Canadian teams in the NBA, to be the ones to win it, being the first Canadian, or being the first city that an NBA game was played in.
Right.
Is what are the odds of that?
Yeah, Jay, thanks for calling. We got a lot of callers, but you're right. You talk about Toronto, and you're not the only guy who's like, yeah, I'm a hockey fan first and foremost, but you understand the significance, and when you do get the history of it, it is kind of cool. It is pretty remarkable, and it's still something that's difficult to believe, especially considering the way this franchise started. Certainly, Josh, wasn't like the Vegas Golden Knights, and they came out as an expansion team on fire. I remember the 15th anniversary in particular, so that would have been around
2010.
10, yeah. What was there to talk about?
Yeah,
I mean, there were some players.
There
were some
nice
star players, yeah, and Vince Carter played here, and they'd won one playoff series. They had no division titles.
They had one playoff series.
Yeah, and it was a best of 5.
Yeah, it was a best of 5.
They had never won a best of 7.
Yeah.
And now look at it tonight.
It's true. You look at those first few years, like they won 21 games, 30, 16, 23. The first 4 years, and then they had the Vince Carter years. And then after, Vince got hurt a lot, then they were terrible again. It's just been, roadblock after roadblock. It's like, oh, maybe finally we're turning the corner here. No, here's a roadblock. The team's going to stink again for 4 years. Now I think we're finally in kind of the dawn of consistent, fun, enjoyable, winning basketball in the city. And I think the fans have suffered for long enough that, this title is great, but the program has been built here for, this to be a competitive team for a long, long time.
Here's a fantastic ownership. There is terrific people running the team in Masai Ujiri and the basketball people. And regardless of Kawhi's ultimate destination, this is now a place players want to play. I'm pretty confident in saying that. I think that's another thing that has been introduced, and you're right. They've arrived. Maybe it wasn't just tonight, but now being a championship team and you walk into the rink and you're going to see that banner hanging from the top, too good to be true. Chris is in Hamilton. Chris, you're on the wrap. Go ahead.
Guys, how awesome is this? How awesome is it to be a Raptors fan right now? Isn't this amazing? I can't believe this. Honestly, I've been a basketball fan since I was a little kid. Michael Jordan turned me into a basketball fan. And when we got a team, I was so excited. And I spent years waiting for this to happen. And I'll tell you, how good is Kawhi Leonard? This guy is so good. I was so sad to see DeMar DeRozan go. He was so committed to play for this team and to be a part of this city. And it was hard seeing him leave. But I'll tell you, man, Kawhi Leonard's a really good player, and he brought a championship to this city. And I couldn't be happier tonight. I hope you guys feel the same way. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Chris, thank you for the call. Great to hear from folks in Hamilton. A lot of Raptor fans up there as well. There is no question. Kawhi Leonard, MVP of the team. You had to have the superstar. I like the comments, though. Masai Ujiri said after the game, Josh, he said, and when Nav Badia called us, said the same thing. This is about the history. This is about back in the day of Stoudemire. It was the building blocks. It was all the things that came. And I would even say on this year's team, while Kawhi, definitely difference maker, 1,000%. MVP of the finals, no question about it.
Yep.
There were a lot of great parts. And in particular, and I know we're not going to analyze, we get more time to, other shows can do this tomorrow, analyzing this game. I thought tonight in particular, Fred VanVleet.
How about it?
Holy smokes. Was he money and ice and big three-pointers. So you're right. No question. Kawhi is the guy. Kawhi's the guy. But it takes more than one. And they had a lot of contributors tonight.
This just goes to show that, maybe the era of building around 2 or 3 guys and then just filling in kind of spare parts it's harder to win that way. Maybe you can get there, but the Raptors, yeah, Kawhi's great, but they had by the end like 7, even 8 guys that could reliably, get a basket, make a stand defensively. It's rare in today's maybe kind of top heavy league where star players kind of congregate onto a couple of teams, where you have that kind of just top-end depth. And the Raptors did a really good job assembling this kind of talent, and everybody fit really well together. Like Marc Gasol comes in and was just such a seamless fit. It's like, oh, am I going to get less shots? Okay, so whatever. I'll play, I'll fill in when I need to. I can still score if called upon. I'll play good defense. There was sacrifice if need be. Danny Green wasn't starting second halves. Van Vliet did because he did a good job defensively on Curry. Van Vliet, no fear. He played the same way at Wichita State, chip on his shoulder, undrafted guy. Just so many different stories, so many different backgrounds. And for all of them to play a part in a championship this special is really, really sweet.
Mark in Thornhill's on the wrap. Mark, go right ahead. How you feeling tonight?
I am feeling incredible because that's how everyone in our city should feel right now. And, I was out and about everywhere from Yonge and Eglinton down to Yonge and Queen, celebrating with the city and seeing the newer generation. I mean, I was only about 9-10 years old when the Raptors had their inaugural season. I got to go to a game at the Sky Dome. I got to see things like LeBron's very first game in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. I got to throw out T-shirts working for the Raptors at the Air Canada Centre. I worked in the box office. I've done way, way too much. I've even got to push some buttons for you, Raj, a little while ago back at the Fan. But it's just